So can you just share one experience, like from a patient standpoint, from the clinical side of things?
I got two actually. So one was a hairdresser that came in. We had her direct access, didn't see any physicians. She's young, she's probably mid-20s, and had this hand issue going on. And at, you know, being in her 20s and you're starting to think of carpal tunnel, you're like, wow, that's kind of, you know, not that age demographic, but she definitely had a lot of atrophy in the thumb, and she had a lot of weakness. So we had the diagnosis. We said, let's go ahead and do a nerve study. And so we did EMG and NCS. And actually, I found out that she had severe carpal tunnel on the atrophied side. But then when I did the comparative on the other, she actually had moderate. She didn't have symptoms yet, or maybe she didn't even realize it. She had moderate on the other side. So we actually contacted our local hand surgeon that we work well with, and she went in and within a couple of weeks had surgery.
Oh, I think within a week.
Yeah, and now, I mean, 6 weeks after that, she's been back to work. You know, feels 100%. Very thankful, because if, you know, she got down the wrong path, we all know that nerve damage is sustained too long, that might not ever come back, even with a, you know, great surgery. So that was really cool.
Had we not had that complete package of providing that elite care to her, coming directly to us. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have to say that before being in the diagnostics field, I probably would have tried six weeks or so of physical therapy, you know, 2 to 3 times a week for 6 weeks. I mean, as physical therapists, we all think that we can fix it and make it better. I mean, that's what our job is, right? And so I'm sure that I would have done that, and, you know, unfortunately would have been doing this patient a disservice and quite possibly making her condition even worse and long-term damage.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was,
Yeah. So good job on that.
Thank you. Another story, actually, during this recent COVID pandemic, we had a patient that fell walking her dog, hurt her knee, did a telehealth session with her physician. Her physician said, well, why don't, you know, if there's any therapy around that will take you, go ahead. And we, obviously being open at that time, she came in, and the therapist that saw her was like, I don't like the way it looks. Let's go ahead and do an MSKUS ultrasound. And I'm doing, you know, my standard protocol on the knee. And I'm like, whoa, what's this? And all of a sudden I'm looking, and it ends up being a fracture in her patella. So that put a whole spin on what she was going to be doing for the next month. But if we didn't have that, we'd have started treating her, and who knows what that would have led to. So I was like, really like, wow, this is so powerful now to have this tool, you know, on day 2 that we can, you know, find this, you know, out for her, and then put her in a nice safe, now we're in kind of a safe mode to let this heal before we get, you know, aggressive with it. So, and she had really good range of motion, which was, you know, even more scary. So
yeah, usually we would see that flexion block. So
those are 2.